Good evening and welcome to the Kim B. Davis Show. I'm your host, Kim B. Davis, and this evening we have one of our favorite guests. We have Dr. Angela Celeste May. She has a background in organizational, clinical, and forensically trained as a psychologist. She is the co-founder and president of A.M. and Associates Incorporated. She is the founder and president of Celeste Productions Incorporated. She created a column for Michigan Women's Forum magazine called Phenomenal Michigan Women, highlighting accomplished Black women in our state. She is an author of several articles and editor of books in different genres. She is the past president of the Michigan Psychological Association Foundation Board. She's the co-founder and past president of the Metro Detroit Association of Black Psychologists. Huh. And is that she is the first Black chair-elect of the Michigan Health Council in its 83-year history. She's received several awards, including the 2023 President's Distinction Award for contributions to the field from the Michigan Psychological Association and Foundation. And she's also an author and a musician. Can we say counselor? Can we say educator?
Educator, former practicing therapist, but
Yes,
educator,
yes.
absolutely. Coach,
Yes, that's the word.
consultant.
Yes,
Yes.
that's the word I was looking for, coach,
Yeah.
because you do PhD training. And so
Yes.
Dr. Angie is here this evening to talk about the dehumanization of Black people, especially Black women. Welcome to the show, Dr. Angie. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Kim. It's always a pleasure to join you.
All right, so let's get right to it. The White House had a UFC fight, and one of the participants, I guess he was celebrating, said Michelle Obama is the man. Dr.
Yes.
Angie, why is it so easy to disrespect Black people? And it seems like, not that it seems like, it is like, because we see it in the news. We hear people saying Black people are chimping out. We hear people saying that, you're not wanted here. You still have police brutalizing children or brutalizing young people. We just had a 1-year old that was shot in Mississippi over a box of diapers. I'm not sure if the mother stole the diapers, didn't steal the diapers. I don't know. But it is depressing, frustrating um, to be Black in America today.
Mhm.
Why is it so easy to disrespect us, Dr. Angie?
Well, a few reasons. The first one that comes to mind is this is what has been taught for generations. This is what has been taught and instilled in America. It's part of our American history. We don't want us, skate over that or whitewash over it, as people say. And the more we're learning, you and I have talked about how in this age of AI and technology and YouTubes and all TikToks and everything, more and more people are putting forward even more history. There's so much that had been covered up. So we're learning more and more, yes, about Black accomplishments, brilliance, discoveries, all of those things that folks tried to cover up. But we're also learning about the degree of brutality as well. And like you said, it's very sad and tragic and can be a depressing thing as well. So these are things that have gone on in terms of the media, teaching this to kids, passing this around. It's been in comic books, Sambo. It's been in so-called comedy. It's been in live, stage minstrel shows. It's been just weaved throughout. When we say systemic and like weave throughout the fabric, the truth is, even though things have gotten better in a lot of ways, in terms of a lot of ways, meaning, laws that have been passed, things that we've been able to do since we've only really been free since the 60s, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, striking down of Jim Crow laws and all those kinds of things that we grew up with that behind us, but only barely behind us.
Mm-hmm.
So because that's such a long history that
Mm-hmm.
has just been, imbued into the DNA of being an American, it really hasn't gone anywhere. In some ways better, We have younger generations of kids of different backgrounds. We say black and white in our country. Yes, we know that that doesn't really depict the vast diversity of people from all kinds of backgrounds. But in terms of our racialized society and colonized society, there are white kids who are growing up with their black friends and don't think this way, and have parents who don't, which is wonderful. We've always had some people who don't, as we always say. But by and large, just the vast cornerstone upon which our wealthy nation, our powerful nation has been built, has been, as we say, on the backs of black people. So that doesn't just mean, literally, physically backbreaking work and all that we were put through as a people, but it also means dragging. There's a necessity to drag our names through the mud. It's actually necessary in order to continue the brainwashing of both the enslaver and the enslaved.
Hmm.
So you cannot continue speaking of where we've come from. This we've said what 200 years. We know thanks to the 1619 project, and then a little before then, even longer.
Hmm.
You cannot create, build, and sustain a system that requires a group of people, in our case, African and African descendant people, to remain enslaved. You cannot build and sustain that without also working very hard at the brain part, the brainwashing, the ideas, the concepts, the imagery that says we're less than human. All of that. All of that is not true, as we well know. But the lie is, and I say necessary in quotes, of course, the lie is necessary, quote unquote, to continue to try and perpetuate the nonsense that there's a certain group of human beings who are more entitled and more deserving and more human than another set. So
Hmm.
it's a long, long history of that, and for people, maybe younger folks, and not even necessarily younger folks, maybe people who haven't done a lot of visiting of museums and things like that, or even if you have, just to remind you, some of those old European paintings that
Hmm.
show the why are there so many from centuries ago from Europe and different parts of Europe that show black little girls and black little boys who are always in the picture to the side when they're showing depictions of wealthy white women and wealthy people on their horseback and all, hunting and all that stuff. They're decorations. They're like pets. They
Hmm.
showed your wealth if you had one of those little black children,
Right.
in your entourage, as part of who you own. So yeah, yeah, many, many centuries of brainwashing. And that's just the black part.
Right.
We haven't gotten to the woman part. That's just the black. So that's men and women. And then you have the layer, of course, of um, the again the and I say the need, like the necessity in quotes,
Hmm.
so-called need to again, similar concept in terms of trying to justify the privilege and access to power that people try to hold on to, and in both cases with black folks and with women, and with black women in particular, one of the most tempting, maybe best ways to try and do that, hold on to power,
Hmm.
create and hold on to privilege, is you need someone to be over.
Hmm.
Got to have somebody that to be over.
Hmm.
So again, centuries and millennia,
Yes.
because at least black folks, we have been kings and queens and rulers and all of that, and yes, there have been women as well, but by and large, again, centuries and millennia of women being property, being treated as property, having no voice, having no say in their lives, um, in patriarchal societies, because there are
Yes.
matriarchal societies as well, but in
Yes.
patriarchal societies. So um, it just becomes so interwoven because this is a patriarchal society
Mm-hmm.
that we're living in, even still. Although again, some things are better and all that. That they're a go-to. They're just a go-to. When you're used to reaching for a lollipop to make you feel better, and if you live somewhere, you're like, what the heck is a lollipop? It's some candy.
I think
It's like some candy on a stick. If you're used to reaching for the cigarette or the alcohol or the hot buttered bread, hello, that's what I'm talking about. Or
okay.
whatever the thing is that you're used to reaching for to help yourself feel better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you've done that for years and years and years, as an individual, then when you feel most threatened or when you're starting to feel a little better about yourself, I don't mean real security. I mean, you're still insecure, but you need to try to prop yourself up because you are insecure. Then you're gonna go towards that thing that you've developed an addiction to help make yourself feel better. So it's because of the long history. It's because it's been ingrained on multiple levels, for both black and women, and it is because it is a go-to, seemingly, because there are consequences, but seemingly safe, in quotes again, option to
Mm-hmm.
put the black woman down.
Right.
So for all of those reasons, and then when you put all that together, when you look around society and you're trying to think of, okay, who is it that I can step on the most easily, to make myself feel better, because I don't feel that I'm really a worthwhile human being. you
Mm-hmm.
know uh, not white men in this society.
Right.
Maybe not white women, perhaps because maybe they have alignment with white men. Black men definitely have been a go-to as well. Disgustingly so. But
Yeah.
then there's the sexes. They're men. So
Mm-hmm.
so who's left?
Just us. Just us.
That beautiful black woman.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the reasons.
And
Some of
those,
the reasons.
and that is an excellent explanation. I was looking for a movie that I couldn't remember the name of. It's called Belle. It's a beautiful movie about Dido Elizabeth Belle. She
Oh
is
yes.
she was a black woman who her father was white, her mother was or he was European, her mother was Jamaican. Her mother died or and her she was shipped to his family.
Hmm.
She was wealthy, but she was black. Although she was fair, she had all the stereotypical, you know, um,
Hmm.
look.
Yes. And I was just gonna, not to
Go
interrupt you,
ahead,
but
please.
because you do have such a beautiful international audience. When you said the look, we say fair, meaning light skin. Some
Yeah.
some people might know what fair, like, was she like unfair?
Yeah, no, 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 no.
Right.
I met her skin complexion. She had that curly type of hair,
Hmm.
and she just was a beautiful woman. However, she was black.
Hmm.
And in the movie, I don't know enough about her story, but I know in the movie she struggled because they were like, well, you're technically part of this family, but you're black. And
Hmm.
so she's like, okay, well, what does that mean? You'll have some money, but you're black. We can't give you a husband, prepare a contract to have her marry somebody because who was going to marry her? Because she was black.
Hmm.
And what's interesting is there's a famous painting of her, and
Yes.
it's exactly like what you were saying, Dr. Angie, where you have this beautiful white woman who is dressed regally and royally, all of those things, and then you have this black woman off to the side. And I remember in the movie she talked about it, and she was like, "But why do you have me looking like that?" And they were like, "But it's just for the," and she was like, "But I don't look like that." And it is interesting because throughout history, Black women specifically, because even I don't know if this is the right one, but throughout the British monarchy, there is a story where an African princess was captured and she was brought to England as the queen's I believe they called her a guest, but it's
Mm-hmm.
essentially she was a prisoner. She couldn't leave. And
Mm-hmm.
they raised her, but she was royal. And
Yeah.
so the question becomes when things don't look like what you think they should. Like, what does royalty look like? Does royalty just look like big pompadours and big poofy dresses and that type of thing? Or does it look like kente cloth with feathers and different things? Or does it look like a type of East African adornment that you may not be used to?
Mm-hmm.
Or even in, in Spain and France, their look was different. It was similar, but it was still different.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it ironic because we're having some of the same conversations. And I often remind people the Civil Rights Act was signed into law in 1964.
Mm-hmm.
It is 2026. Some people weren't born until the 70s. And so when you start to look at it, you're like, it's not even 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, it's closer
It's
to
60, 62 years, something like
62.
that.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
we're not even talking 75 years. It's not 100 years ago. This isn't history in the sense of, oh, this happened a long time ago. No, this is a recent um event. When we
Absolutely.
talk about what's the young lady who walked to school and integrated the schools, Ruby Bridges.
Oh, Ruby Bridge. Uh-huh. Yes.
She's still alive.
Yes, she is.
She and still talking. And so when I have conversations with people, I say, when we were in school, we would look at those videos and we would see those angry mobs yelling at Black people as they were trying to integrate schools or move into neighborhoods. I said, we always wondered what happened to them. I said, now we see the fruits of that labor.
They had children.
They had children
Mm-hmm.
and they talked about it and they taught them in silence.
Absolutely. Well, sometimes in silence and sometimes verbally.
Yes.
Absolutely. Modeling behavior, their reactions, the things that were said, um, things that weren't said, all of
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
I also, to your question, starting us off about Michelle Obama and,
Hmm.
why and all of that. There's also, it's also a go-to tactic
Hmm.
because I maintain
Hmm.
that everyone has their gifts and talents and their beauty and all of that God has given each person,
Yes.
which is very true. There are people who don't realize their worth for whatever sets of reasons, and
Hmm.
so there are people who try to step on other people because they feel insecure. So
Hmm.
having said that, reiterated that, I continue to maintain that there are a lot of people who try to put black folks down because they're jealous
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
black people are amazing,
Yes.
and like I said, for anyone who wants to respond, every person's amazing. Every
Absolutely.
person's amazing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and some people just as with anyone, sometimes you see something that you like in the other person, and rather than saying, "Oh, that's inspiring," or I want to try to mimic what they do, or find my whatever talents, whatever it may be, people will react in jealousy.
Hmm.
So getting back to this man, I don't know anything about him, and his actions were not gentlemanly, so I'm not going to say gentleman.
Yes.
Getting
He,
back to this person, this man who said the horrible things about Michelle Obama, um, I was also thinking about the fact that, of course, the Obamas take a lot of hits because they are not just black, but they are highly accomplished.
hmm
At both of them, of course, what I'm saying is about for both of them. But since we're speaking about the attack on Mrs. Michelle Obama,
hmm
highly accomplished, highly regarded, highly respected internationally.
Yes.
You can be all of that and not be extremely popular. And
Hmm.
she's extremely popular
Very.
from
Very.
all corners,
Hmm.
men, women, children, all of that. They want to hear what she has to say. They want to hear her opinions on things, all of that.
Hmm.
Um, and she continues, to be on the world stage and to be called out again, come back as people do around the world because she's so highly valued.
Mm-hmm.
For someone who is insecure, anyone who's insecure, for someone who was taught that being a man is really the superior thing, when we know that
Mm-hmm.
all humans
Yeah.
are created equal.
Yeah.
And when you were told falsely, like we've been saying, passed down, that to be white is to be more superior, which is absolutely not true.
Yeah.
Then some of that reaction, I'm going to speculate because I don't know him. We're not evaluating him in terms of clinically or anything like that. But I'm going to speculate just based on what's public facing, that definitely could also be because he's jealous of her,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
absolutely jealous of her, and his win, taking nothing away from the sport,
Yeah.
his win at this particular sport, this he won at a fight. Perhaps he might feel, I'm just speculating here, that it just doesn't equal the worldwide fame and respect and love that Michelle Obama gets.
Correct.
And there are other women, there's a small class of them, but there are other women who are highly regarded as well, and loved around as well. There's a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
Why go after Michelle Obama? Well, speaking from maybe perhaps a very insecure, entitled man,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps. I could stomach that from those other women, but that's not supposed to be the case for a black woman. She's not supposed to be, more famous and more highly regarded and more sought after and more beloved than I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it definitely also smacks and suggests that perhaps there's a whole lot of painful jealousy going on there as well.
I agree, and I think it goes even deeper. I think he tried to date a black woman and he got turned down. I do understand. I do understand that he tried to date Iman.
Oh, is
Iman,
that right?
yes, there's a
Okay.
story. He asked her out on a date. She told him no because she had just met David Bowie. They were
Okay.
like in the beginning stages of their relationship. I think he's devastated because he was like, "Why would you turn me down?" Well, sorry, nobody wants you. Um, it- and so unfortunately, black women, we're facing his ire. And
Mm-hmm.
I do think there is truth to what you're saying. He is extremely jealous because to continue to bring that up,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, why?
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 Exactly.
And and and
Exactly.
and for people that are saying, well, make her prove it. Even if,
That is so
even
absurd.
It is
Upside.
absurd. It is
Absurd.
absurd. It is. But
Mm-hmm.
even if she came on national television, because I'm going somewhere with this, she went on national television and revealed her innermost body, meaning her privates. This would be akin to Sarah Bartman from South Africa, black woman, who, because she had very large buttocks,
Mm-hmm.
she had large private areas.
Mm-hmm.
The Europeans were obsessed with her.
Absolutely obsessed.
They took her to carnivals and looked at her like she was a zoo object.
Absolutely.
She ended up dying of syphilis because they ended up prostituting her out because I guess it became a thing like, oh, you have this woman. And so
Mm-hmm.
the very things that are our hallmarks, black women, we have large buttocks.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of black women are very curvy. Um, all of these things are the very things that they objectified in Sarah
Absolutely.
Bartman.
And continue to do so after she died.
After she died,
After she died.
they just sent the remains back. And so I find it ironic because Michelle Obama, former First Lady Michelle Obama, had a conversation about hair. And I hollered because I said it's absolutely true. Because she said, people ask me, well, what are you doing with your hair? She said, girl, sometimes I don't feel like doing my hair, so I get braids in it. I said, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes our hair is difficult. We don't, if my hair gets wet, it's gonna shh.
Yeah.
The shrinkage is real.
Well,
Somebody,
I would, I wouldn't say
yeah,
difficult. I would say
Okay.
it takes more time and
Correct.
a certain amount of energy to be able to work with it. I
Yes.
wouldn't say
That is,
difficult.
yes, that's correct. Thank you for that correction. It does take more time.
Hmm.
And I will have to share a picture, but when my hair was really, really long, it
Hmm.
took 3 or 4 hours. And
Yeah.
so you did not want to get your hair wet
Hmm.
because it did take more time. And
Hmm.
if it was tangled or any of those things, that took additional time and additional products. And so
Hmm.
it's just interesting that she's consistently attacked. But what I also find fascinating, Dr. Angie, is that Black women are always accused of being the ghetto one, the unsophisticated one, the unintelligent, the unprofessional.
Hmm.
Yet, in America, Black women are the most educated demographic,
Hmm.
including myself. I'm getting ready to have a master's. I'm so excited. Um,
Yay!
yay! But Black women are out here rocking bachelor degrees, master's degrees, and I'll give you a statistic. In Michigan, 32% of people have a bachelor's degree.
Hmm.
That means people that actually graduated from college.
Hmm.
And so you have more people in this country, that's just Michigan, more people in this country who are just walking around with high school degrees, not college degrees, because even in America and all of this wealth and excess that we have, many people do not go to college. They
Right.
can't afford it. They can't afford it, life circumstances, whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you make a life for yourself, great. But
Absolutely.
for Black women to carry 2 and 3 degrees, whether you've got an MBA and a law degree, or
Mhm.
you have a bachelor's and a master's and a PhD, whatever the mix that you have, we have Black women walking out here with excellence, with
Absolutely.
multiple degrees. And I find it ironic that the most educated demographic is also one of the most hated. Can you talk about how as women,
Hmm.
specifically Black women, how do you navigate that? Because I will tell you, in my own personal spaces, whether it's professional, whether it's, people look at me, and then when I talk, they're like, "Oh, wait," and I'm like, "Mm-hmm." And then I like to use big words, and they're like, "I don't know what that word means." I'm like, "Go get a dictionary.
Yeah.
Leave me alone." Um, but it's interesting because people will look at you, but then in professional spaces and in community, we've heard for the last year or so, where are the Black people? Come help us. We're out here protesting. Where are the Black people? And we all said, nah, y'all got this. You wanted this. Now you got it.
Hmm.
But I find it interesting because there was a social media thread that said to children, if you get lost, find you a Black woman. So my point is that it seems like wherever we are, if there's Black women in the room, people look to us like, oh, we know y'all gonna fix it.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, even in my professional space of academia, I'm in a room and people will look at me, well, Kimberly, what should we do? And I'm like, "Duh, duh, 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 duh." But it gets exhausting because I'm like, it's 10 of y'all in here. You all are women. No, we don't all look alike. However, you all have degrees too, but you're looking to me to help you fix what you messed up or what you didn't do or what you didn't have the courage to do.
Um, well, I was thinking about as you were talking and sharing the statistics and the numbers.
Mhm.
Um, I was thinking about um, again with the history, the centuries ago, even before uh, the Emancipation Proclamation that freed enslaved people in this country. And uh, we do, of course, want to say that once again, our entire history did not begin and end with being enslaved. Of course, the Moors,
Yes,
that, built all kinds of stuff in Europe and did all. So we've always been a very diverse and a very accomplished people, always have been.
yes,
So, and the fact that we are still here, having come through American chattel slavery, which is the most brutal,
Mm-hmm.
disgusting form of slavery that anybody could ever conceptualize. The
Mm-hmm.
fact that we're still here speaks to our resilience, our
Mm-hmm.
resourcefulness, our brilliance, our creativity, all of that, and our spirituality as well. So, um,
Mm-hmm.
people can be very powerful. We, as Black people, are a very powerful people, and as
Yeah.
Black people and as Black women, very very powerful. So I'm saying that to say that even before we've always been accomplished as well. There's always been, some even during chattel slavery. There's always been some free people. There's always been some who accomplished some wealth, etc. Whatever the case. Um, and for those who did not, nothing on them. That's the system on our
Right.
necks, of course.
Right.
But even in those days, who who was it that was raising those white kids?
That's right. Who was breastfeeding them? Who
Who
was
is
taking care
breastfeeding, who is
of
teaching them, who is
them?
school, in terms of schooling them, in terms of how you're supposed to act and what you're supposed to put on and all of that. We have always demonstrated a combination of what people call a mother wit,
Mm-hmm.
um, a common sense and a spiritual sense and a work ethic and a commitment I mean, you just can go on and on. From a psychological perspective, there's a lot of frontal lobe stuff happening, in the frontal lobe. When we're talking about cognition and cognitive abilities, we're talking about the ability to think. That doesn't just mean, think about the clouds, which is lovely. That's part of it too. But we're talking about problem solving, being
Yes.
able to create and figure out way, those old fashioned terms that we hear the old folks say, God making a way out of no way, our
Mm-hmm.
ability to make ways out of absolutely no ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, Literally being able to take like one can of something, beans or something from the cupboard,
Yeah.
and oh my goodness, make a whole feast out of that. That just folks are just passing out of. All of that have all of that has been a manifestation of our brilliance and the opportunity for those who are able to take advantage of it, the opportunity to go to college, to get these degrees that you were talking about. Um, to my mind, it's just another manifestation
Mm-hmm.
of what we've always been and who we've always been.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, I know I'm going to say it wrong, but for those of your watchers and listeners, since I have my hair wrapped today, that I just did today, but what do they call the tendon laws, tangent laws
The
from the
Ting yes,
tendon.
Tidnon. Yes, in Louisiana.
Yes, in
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana, exactly. So, did they just say? And of course, what those sets of laws were saying that black women, could no longer wear their hair out. They had to cover their hair. Why did they have to cover their hair? Did they find our beautiful hair offensive? No, quite the opposite.
Yes.
People were getting jealous.
Mm-hmm.
People,
Mm-hmm.
because people's husbands and boyfriends were quite enamored with the beauty of kinky, coily, tightly curled black African afro hair.
Yeah.
Because it's a beautiful thing, and all the creativity and the things that we did with it. So those sets of laws were enacted to, they're just got, these women have to cover their hair up, and of course, when we do something, it's just not going to be just plain.
Right.
So we're gonna, and the way that they covered their hair was so creative and so elaborate and so gorgeous with the colorful scarves and the putting
And the
jewels in
feathers
there.
and the jewels. Yes.
Absolutely, all of that. So the machine. I see a direct line, a direct link between those days and days before and the Michelle Obama comment. It is all an ongoing reaction to something that I find unattainable,
Mm-hmm.
and it disturbs and bothers my spirit
Mm-hmm.
because I was told this lie that they're supposed to be, she's supposed to be below me, but she is so clearly so
Mm-hmm.
far ahead of me. I don't want to say above me because I don't think any person is
Right.
better than another, but so far ahead of him in terms of everything from accomplishments to, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that it's just a through line, and I I know it's not easy to do. I think it can become easier to do though, and that is, I encourage people to feel sorry for people like that,
Mhm.
because when you really think about it, yes, certainly it can be exhausting and it's hurtful. It's hurtful to all of us, absolutely, to hear that. But the feeling sorry for these folks who do stuff like that, when you really think about this, and this is what we tell little kids who are being bullied, same thing. When you
Yep.
think about it, what exactly has he taken away from her?
Right. Nothing.
She has the book deals. She has
And
the people calling her
the
around the world,
speaking engagements,
speaking engagement,
she,
paid.
I mean, right. Wait, the royal families across the world want the Obamas to come.
Because they view the Obamas as American royalty.
Yeah.
Can't, you know, if you really have nothing left in your arsenal than to try to call her a man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, what? Okay, all righty then. Meanwhile, there she goes.
She's still moving on. Still
See
moving
that there she goes. She's human, of course. These things hurt, and I'm sure they hurt her family. There's no doubt about that.
on.
Um,
And
but
she
the
has daughters. She has
she has
daughters
daughters. Absolutely, she has
who have to
daughters.
watch people abuse their mother
Absolutely.
in the public
In the
sphere.
public space, absolutely. And she has a husband who loves her very much,
Yeah.
and close friends and family who she has a brother who loves her very much. They don't, to have to keep hearing that, it is painful, and it is, it's like taking incoming, all of them having to take that, as well as
Mhm.
all, everyone who really loves and appreciates her. And to your entire point this evening, we all feel it as well, because to sling that at her is to sling that at all black women,
Mhm.
of course. So like you're saying, how do we deal with that? For me, I do feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for them because I did not learn his name, and I still don't know his name. I know
I don't
Michelle Obama's name.
yeah, I know Michelle Obama's
I don't
name.
say that.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for him because what people don't understand is it says everything about them
Yeah.
and absolutely nothing about the person that they're speaking against. So I think that is, I don't think, I know that is important for internal resilience for all of us, all black, women who have to deal with stuff like that, because it reminds us that it is not about us.
Yeah.
It really isn't about us. We are just as, and it's important to remind ourselves of that. And using Michelle Obama as a wonderful example,
Mhm.
oftentimes it's easier to see it in someone else and a little harder to see it, for ourselves. But apply the same thing that you would apply to her. We don't see her as any less. If anything, it
Mhm.
elevates her that much more, because here we are talking about her magnificence
Exactly.
again, yet again, and we can't remember his name for nothing.
Nope.
Pardon my poor grammar, for nothing, for
Right.
anything.
As my granny would say, if he walked up on me on the street, I wouldn't know who he was.
Absolutely. And as my grandma would say, if he was a snake, he would have bit me, because
There you go.
I didn't see him. I didn't see him. If he was a snake, he would have bit
But
me.
yep. Yep. Mhm.
Absolutely. So think as we think about that, and as some of those things are thrown in our direction, um, use her as a wonderful example. Think about how you view her
Mhm.
in the light of this.
Mhm.
It did not diminish her at all in our eyes and the
Mhm.
eyes of people around the world who seek after her.
Mhm.
It takes nothing away from all of her accomplishments and all that she has given and continues to give. It takes nothing away from her brilliance. All of that is true and applicable for each of us whenever those kinds of things are thrown at us as black women.
Mhm.
To remind ourselves, just like we would say about her, and have said and do say, we are just as beautiful, just as brilliant, just as talented, just as accomplished, just as creative, which is one of the reasons why he's doing it. And
Mhm.
why that's one of the, because they're very threatened. So
Mhm.
what we should not do is shrink ourselves, of course. We
Absolutely.
should not shrink ourselves down. We should be who we are, and be thankful for who we are and what we have to give to this world. And I also have to say, as a Christian, I'm always going to have to say, and the way that I was raised is that um, we shouldn't leave these people the way we found them,
Yes.
as was Christ's example.
Mhm.
Pray for these people,
Mhm.
because if we never see it, no, people reap what they sow.
Mhm.
No one just gets away. You
No.
do reap what you sow. And
Mhm.
so that's a soul in trouble. That's
Mhm.
pretty pathetic. That's a pathetic person. And so I sincerely feel sorry.
Mhm.
Sorry for him, and am very thankful that Michelle and all of the rest of us black women, that we are magnificent. And if he
Absolutely.
can figure out who he is, then
He could
if
love
he can figure out
himself.
he'd feel good about himself too, and he stop all that
Right.
nonsense.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
what did our parents teach us when we were kids? Only people who don't like themselves talk about other people.
exactly. Exactly. Only people who don't like themselves, that's right. Talk about other people, try to pull somebody else down and all of that. So that's a sad soul that is worth feeling sorry for, and I'm going to pray for him to be better and encourage our fellow black women to always remember who we are, where we come from, and that we are magnificent. And keep in mind too, I'll say this too, when you are doing something in this world and when you are magnificent, you are going to take some slings and arrows.
You are.
As Shakespeare would say, you're going to take some of that. And some, there's different sayings where people will say, if you're not getting some,
You're
the
not
people
doing it
out there, you ain't doing nothing.
right.
You know, so sadly, that's a natural human tendency for people who are jealous. They want to tear down the thing that they're jealous of.
Yes, they do.
Absolutely. So,
Thank you, Dr. Angie. That's a great way to end our interview. This was a great conversation.
thank
Before we
you.
get out of here, tell us how we can find you on social media. Tell us how we can reach you, and also tell us what you have coming up next.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, Kim. People can find me on social media on Facebook, um, YouTube, on Instagram. I just use my name. I have no stage name, so look for Angela Celeste May or Dr. Angela Celeste May. Also, I have my company with my sister, who is Michelle May. We are A.M. May and Associates Incorporated. We do counseling, consulting, and coaching. My sister provides the counseling. We both do different types of coaching. So we offer creative coaching because we're both professional musicians as well and creatives, and we're creative educators as well as composers and performers. So my sister does creative coaching. I do doctoral coaching as well, and we also do consulting as also. So you can go to our website amaassociates.com. You can find us at both our Facebook page, same name, and our Instagram amaassociates.com. Also, I teach in the Metro Detroit area at the Mary Grove Conservancy. So you can look that up, Mary Grove Conservancy in Detroit, in terms of calling if you are interested in voice lessons, private voice lessons, or private piano lessons for beginner, intermediate. And I teach voice for all ranges, including if you are also a fellow professional. I coach pros as well.
Mhm.
Let's see. I have my album. My first two albums are out. They can be found on Reverb Nation. They can also be found on iTunes as well. Again, look for my name. And my book, which is Freedom: What is the Experience of Living Without Negative Self-Imposed Limitations. I don't have it here, but you can find that at barnesandnoble.com, exlibris.com, which is the publisher's site, and also Amazon as well. And so that is a book in which I did a qualitative research study. I interviewed a group of people from a broad range of backgrounds, and I called it Freedom because these are people who are facing all kinds of different challenges, from emotional to career to personal, just in self growth. And in interviewing them, there were some key themes that emerged. 7 key themes that emerged from their different experiences, different age groups, different backgrounds, that seem to be fairly or somewhat universal. And so many people who have read the book have found it very, very helpful and inspiring for them as well. So I encourage you to check that out. What do I have coming up? I am in the process of offering a doctoral workshop for those
Mhm.
considering a doctorate degree, or even if you're already in it. And my doctoral workshop, which look for it on Facebook as well, and Instagram, etc. I just did a couple of them. I'm going to be doing more. I'm actually going to start doing those monthly. I do them via Zoom, so you can join me internationally. And what I'm targeting are the things that they don't tell you. There's stuff that's academically that you kind of get as you go, but then you may not. I'm trying to help people have an easier. It's a lot of hard work, but not run into some of the common things that doctoral students run into in terms of the academic journey, and then also life stuff. So I'm also talking about some unexpected things that occur to doctoral students, regardless of your field, regardless of your background. So, though more of those will be coming up. I'm continuing to teach privately. I teach at Wayne County Community College District. I'll be at the Eastern Campus again this year, teaching psychology course. And musically speaking, I've been doing I've been booked to do a lot of performing lately. So I have. These are a variety of performances, but they're also for private organizations and stuff too. So I'll be doing more public stuff soon, but I am out here gigging and performing and writing also. So that's a little bit about me and what I have
Awesome.
coming up.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see you next month for another exciting topic. Thank you again for being here, Dr. Angie.
Thank you.
So, guys, you know me. I'm your host, Kimby Davis. You can see this show at youtube.com/Kimberly Bachelor Davis. You can hear this show on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Wisdom. You can also find out more about me as an author on those channels and Snapchat, TikTok, Blue Sky, Spill, Fanbase, Instagram, Facebook, X, and LinkedIn. You can learn more about me as an author at kimbdavis.com. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope you'll join us on our next episode. Please remember that you matter, your voice is important, and to always be magnificent.